All right, I would say we can get started. It's about 4 minutes after. I wanted to welcome everybody. Thank you for joining our session today. And I wanted to thank AnnaMaria and Lima for joining us today and helping with this presentation. Just to let everybody know what will happen will be they will share their presentations with us. And then at the end of the session, if you have any questions, please feel free to put your questions in the chat session. I will ask the questions to AnnaMaria and Lima, and we'll answer right on the spot. Depending on time, if we run out of time and you still have some questions, I'm happy if you'd like to email me to share the questions with AnnaMaria and Lima, and we can try to get you an answer back. Again, thank you for joining us, and welcome to AnnaMaria and Lima. Thanks.
I forgot to unmute myself. Thank you. So first of all, Lima and I would like to thank everyone who is on the Zoom meeting. We look forward to having conversations and updating you on the different multicultural life and diversity office initiatives and programming that we have been working on for the past few years. So we'll do brief introductions.
Yes. So good morning, everyone. So my name is Lima Stafford, and I'm the Assistant Director for Multicultural Life and Diversity Office. I've been in this role since 2016. I'm also a proud alum, class of 2012. I'm originally from Grenada in the Caribbean, and my family moved to Brooklyn, New York, and now I currently live in Cortland, New York, which I never would have thought I would be here today, but I'm excited to be living in Cortland, New York. So thank you all for joining once again.
And again, my name is AnnaMaria Cirricone. I am originally from Queens, New York myself. I lived upstate for a while now, first in Utica, now I'm in Syracuse. I've been at SUNY Cortland for 5 years this month, actually. I started off in Lima's position as Assistant Director. I've been in the Director role for Multicultural Life now for 4 years. And since our CDO, our Chief Diversity Officer, left at the end of February, I have been serving as the interim Chief Diversity Officer as well. Our new Chief Diversity Officer, Lorraine Lopez-Javon, will be starting August 10th. So I'll remain in the interim role doing both positions until then.
Yes. And our administrative assistant is Dana Smith, just so you all know who she is.
So we won't go into detail on this slide, but we want to give an overview of the different things that we're going to be talking about in our presentation. So we'll go into our peer-to-peer mentor program, the different ally development workshops that we facilitate through our office, our annual Kente Celebration and Diversity Conference, our NUF program, and the Core 101 presentations.
And these are the 3 stickers that we have for our Ally Development Workshop programs. We have our Safe Zone. The mission of our Safe Zone program is to identify, educate, and support our LGBTQAIP folks. We have our Rethinking Abilities. The mission of our Rethinking Abilities is to educate and identify allies who promise to advocate and support all of our students with different disabilities. And we have our Understanding and Advocating for Racial Justice. This one is a few years old. We started to do this one to educate everyone on how to better understand racial injustice and how to be better allies for our people of color. So with these 3 stickers, after the workshops, people can request the different stickers if they're interested in having this to put in their spaces, basically to help folks know that they can come to those spaces and feel more supported and welcome at any time that person know how to advocate or maybe support and want to learn more about these different identities.
So about 2 years ago, we started the peer-to-peer mentorship program. This program is for incoming freshmen and transfer students who are of different underrepresented backgrounds based on their race, ethnicity, gender, sexual orientation, religion, first generation, if they're a first generation student. And so what we do is we recruit them usually during orientation and through messaging that admission helps us put out. We pair them with an upperclassman who's a junior or senior at SUNY Cortland, and they meet regularly throughout the entire first year at Cortland. We connect it to a retreat that we do in the beginning of the fall semester, where we go to Racket Lake with the students who are the mentees and the mentors. Unfortunately, due to COVID, we won't be able to travel. So this year will be the first year it won't be connected to a retreat. So we're looking at other ways to help create that bond when the students first to get to campus. We'll probably have some more news about that once we figure out exactly what the fall is going to look like due to COVID-19.
And this is our NASPA Undergraduate Fellow Program, also known as NUF. So because some students need more opportunities than others, NUF creates possibilities and changes the landscape for student affairs and higher education. So the mission of our NUF program is to increase the number of historically disenfranchised and underrepresented professionals in student affairs and or higher education, including but not limited to those of racial and ethnic minority background, those having disabilities, and those identifying as LGBTQAIP. So throughout the year, we do team up students with a mentor in whichever field they're interested in, whether it's student conduct, it could be counseling, whether it's multicultural life and diversity, campus activities. So whichever program they're interested in, we find a mentor to pair up with that student throughout the year for the NUF program. In the past, we've taken students on trips. So this past picture, this was from 2018, 2019, our fellows, we took them to Los Angeles for the national conference that they have every year. So the program is pretty nice because the program has been growing at SUNY Cortland. So we weren't able to take students on national conferences, but we'll try to take them locally to conferences if we do have a big group of students.
So Somos el Futuro Model Senate is actually run through SUNY System and CUNY, and it's a program that our office has participated in for years now. What happens is that we have students from our institution who apply. Usually we're able to take 3 to 4 students from SUNY Cortland, and they are able to go to Albany, join other SUNY students and also CUNY students to do a model Senate. And so they are able to meet with a faculty member who runs it, and there's a bill that they speak to and then vote on. They do get to enter the Capitol building in Albany in the Senate chambers. Oftentimes senators will also come and they'll get to meet the person that they're representing. So it's a great opportunity for students to network and also learn about how our government works. So this past year, I believe we were able to bring 2 students to Albany. In the past, like I said, we brought 3 to 4. So this is a great opportunity for our students.
In our annual student conference on diversity, equity, inclusion, and social justice, due to COVID-19, once again, we had to cancel our 2020 conference, and we'll have more information later on in our 2021 conference, which we typically have in April. But basically, this conference provides an opportunity for our undergraduates and our graduate students to present, whether it's research and work products on anything related to the topic of diversity, equity, inclusion, and social justice. So it was pretty cool because our 10th annual was 2019, and we had about 366 people that attended the conference over 14 other institutions. So it's pretty nice to see that the conference has been growing every year, and it's just provide a great opportunity for the networking for our students, for other schools, and even for alumni that come back to the conference, which is pretty neat.
So our Kente Celebration is something that started out, I believe, in the late 80s, early 90s through Dr. Seth Asuma in the Africana Studies Department. As it continued to grow, it was moved into the Multicultural Life and Diversity Office. What started off with a handful of students, this year we had 119 students register for Kente. our capacity in the core union function room, which many of you may know is one of the largest areas to hold functions on our campus, was almost at capacity if we would have been able to have it in person this year. Actually, I think we were planning on being at capacity. Unfortunately, due to COVID-19, we did have to cancel this event for the 2020 graduates. We were able to put on a social media campaign where we shared the photos of the graduates who gave us permission to, and also listed the awards that were given, which would be the Calvin Luis Just Memorial Award that was given to Miriam Hulidi. And then we also, which is a new award this year, we're able to work with the new chapter of the NAACP at SUNY Cortland and their advisor, Dr. Seth Asuma, to create an award, the NAACP award. This year, the winner for that award was Aaliyah Dookie. We are still working to figure out how Kente is going to look for spring 2021. We're not sure yet about restrictions due to COVID-19 if we'll be able to host an event that large. So we'll have more information as we learn more from SUNY System and Governor Cuomo.
So these are a list of our student organizations. Currently we have 12 Voice Office organization. It has grown the past few years. The Voice Office was also recently renovated last year in 2019, where we had a grand opening at the alumni reunion. All of the Voice Office organizations are part of the Student Government Association, and some of the multicultural organizations are part of Rec Sports. So for Voice Office, we have the Black Student Union, La Familia Latina, Caribbean Student Association, Halal, Men of Valor and Excellence, Pan-African Student Association, Pride, which was previously called Spectrum, and they recently changed their name. Women of Color, we have Students for Access and Ability in College, Curly Kinky Coily, Know Your Roots, Africana Studies Association, National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. So the last 4 that I named was the most recent organizations that joined the Voice Office. The other orgs we said, we have Drama, which is the Diversity, Rhythm, and Movement Association. We have Gospel Choir, Interfaith Crew, International Awareness Club, Minority Women in Sports, Pyro Dynasty Step Team, and Ritmo Latino, which was recently joined in recreation sports and got approved. With a lot of the organizations, I know there's a misconception for students or even faculty staff that sometimes they think that they have to identify with the organization to join those meetings or go to their events. And we make sure to try to promote that you can be a part of it if you want to learn more about the Jewish culture, join Halal. If you want to learn more about the Caribbean, attend or join the Caribbean Association. So we just try to encourage people, if you want to learn more, you can join any of these organizations.
We also have the Greek Multicultural Council, which does fall under campus activities. Sandra Wahlber oversees Greek life. For the past 4 years, I've been working with her as a co-advisor for specifically the Greek Multicultural Council. We've actually seen a lot of growth. Some of the organizations that are now part of the council are less than 2 to 3 years old on our campus. On the left, you'll see the sororities that we currently have. All of them except for Mu Sigma Upsilon Sorority Incorporated and Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated are Latina based. Sigma Gamma Rho is a historically Black sorority, also known as the Divine Nine. And Mu Sigma Upsilon Sorority Incorporated is a multicultural sorority and it's not connected to a specific ethnic or racial group. For the fraternities, La Unidad Latina, Lambda Upsilon Lambda Fraternity Incorporated, Phi Iota Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, and Lambda Sigma Upsilon Latino Fraternity Incorporated are all Latino-based fraternities, and Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated is also a Divine Nine organization like Sigma Gamma Rho.
Mm-hmm. So what are we currently working on? My office, we recently worked on intergroup dialogue, adding another assistant director position in our office, and we're trying to figure out ways to connect more with our current alums. So with the intergroup dialogue, our office, we teamed up with our previous Chief Diversity Officer, James Felton, to bring intergroup dialogue to campus. The sessions provided an overview of what intergroup dialogue is, which is an innovative strategy to enhance participants' awareness, knowledge, and skills in relating to people from different social identity groups that have a history of conflict or potential conflict. The dialogues assist participants in enhancing their skills in area of multicultural competency, cross-cultural communication, problem solving, teamwork, and collaboration. Participants learned about the intergroup dialogue initiatives, and a lot of the faculty staff had the opportunity to learn and try to become facilitators. So it's something that it's still ongoing, especially new to us, that we're trying to continue to bring to our campus. With the adding of the assistant director position, we got approved for a new line, but due to COVID-19, we had a hold on this position. So we're hoping that it gets reviewed within the next 4 months so that we can add another position, because we definitely need it in our office. It's just me and AnnaMaria and our administrative assistant. And we do get pulled in so many different directions to help, which we love to help, but we can't pour from an empty cup if it's just, you know, two person. So, and then the next thing, like I said, is just we've been trying to create ways to connect with our alumni and our current students. So we're open to suggestions, ideas, of any ways to get our alumni connected with our current students. So I know we've teamed up with alumni engagement for like reunion and different events on campus that we've been having, whether it's panels or collaborating with student groups. But we're open to any suggestions that you all might have related to that. So.
So one of the things I wanted to talk about currently with what's going on nationally regarding protest, counter police brutality, and promoting anti-racism, and for more people to get involved to support racial justice in our country. I know that President Bitterbaum sent out an email to campus. I'm not sure if it went out to alum, but I could always share it with Shauna to be able to share with those who are participating in this forum to address what's going on nationally. Also, I know there may be people here who were part of the forum that we did, Black Lives and Liberation, that was a collaboration between our law office, campus activities, the president of the BSU, president of the NAACP, and a resident hall director. And so we put this forum on for our students to be able to share their voices. We were so happy with the outcome. At one point we had 213 or 212 participants. And we felt that it really provided a space for our students to be vulnerable and share what's going on. And so we want to keep that momentum going, because we felt that we really didn't get an opportunity to delve more into more specifics of what we can do to come together as a community and create more change. So we can share the flyer. I think it's actually next, but we will be continuing this, and where there'll be a forum in July and August that alumni are also welcome to join. We're hoping that some of the topics that we can cover is talking about how to do social advocacy and create social change, and what students can do as far as taking action steps to continue to move us in a more inclusive environment. Talking about police and community relationships, and also the topic of hate speech versus free speech. And we're hoping, if these are successful, that we can even continue them into the 2021 academic year. I know there has also been multiple bias incident reports that have been submitted through things that have happened on social media. And I know that there have been alum that have reached out concerned as well. So I do want to let you know that we do have a formal bias reporting form that can be found on our website. If you search for bias report form, it should pop up. and it will go to both the Director of Student Conduct and myself at the moment serving as interim Chief Diversity Officer. All the reports that are made aware to us are reviewed. I do want to share though, because I know that there is some concern about how the institution is responding. We have a strong stance that racism is not acceptable here, but we're also bound legally, and so is all SUNY schools, because we're public institutions, on what is protected through freedom of speech and expression. And so although we are aware and we're trying to get the message out that this is unacceptable, we're limited in the type of student conduct sanctions that could be given to students due to what they share. So at this time, I did want to open it up to questions and comments from alum about either something that Lima and I presented on, but also concerns given currently what's been going on nationally and on our campus.
I have one question from Stephen. His question is, please explain the mission of the Institutional Equity and Inclusion, Diversity, Equity, Inclusion Committee. Also explain how the Alumni Association, Multicultural Life Diversity, and Institutional Equity and Inclusion benefits SUNY Cortland. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. So actually the Institutional Equity, Inclusion, Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee. So when we had the new Chief Diversity Officer start, when it was fully a one-time, when it was its own position, because before, if those of you who may have known Noelle Chaddick, she served as in both positions. So after she left, the two positions were split, and James Felton was hired as a full-time Chief Diversity Officer, and I was hired as the Director of Multicultural Life, and now we had two professional staff working in these positions. So when James started here, he started the President's Council for Inclusive Excellence. It is comprised of faculty and staff and students from across campus, so that we have people from different silos to be able to come together to discuss diversity and inclusion. Our main priority is implementing the diversity strategic plan. So about, I want to say five years ago now, when we had Carlos Medina, who's actually an alum of SUNY Cortland as well, he was serving as the System Chief Diversity Officer and mandated that all SUNY institutions have a strategic diversity plan that was approved by SUNY System. And so the goal of the President's Council for Inclusive Excellence is to implement that strategic plan. As far as, explain how the Alumni Association, okay. So for the last question, the second part of the question, for Multicultural Life and Diversity and Institutional Equity and Inclusion Office, they sit in different pockets of the institution because of the work that we do. There is an overlap, and when James was here as director, we met bi-weekly for the things that we were working on together. However, the Chief Diversity Officer and Institutional Equity Inclusion Office serves more of a policy and more systemic way of approaching diversity and inclusion of the institution. That position reports directly to President Bitterbaum and provides recommendations on how the institution as a whole can continue to move towards equity and inclusion. For the Multicultural Life and Diversity Office, we fall under the Division of Student Affairs. And so our goals are more directed to direct student support of underrepresented students, which, as you can see with the multiple groups that we work with and the workshops and trainings we provide, our goal is to support and also educate the campus through our programming. So there's the difference in those two offices. For as far as Alumni Association goes, they've been really helpful in collaborating with us. I know that we've been successful in the last two reunions to be able to have more of a focus on diversity and inclusion. We're really trying to work on building better relationships, understanding that not all our students, our alum of underrepresented backgrounds may have had good experiences at Cortland, and they might have faced things that that our majority students didn't. And so we want to show that we're continued to improving diversity. And I think the more engagement we can have between our current students and our alum can help provide support to create that space.
Thank you.
I hope I answered your question fully, Stephen. Let me know if there's anything else you have.
So Jean asks, she says hello, and she says, where can we view the strategic plan?
Hi, Jean. Actually, I believe it is on the website. I'll have to check to see exactly where you can get it. But again, that's something I can also share with Shauna to be able to share with those who are registered for this webinar. We're actually in the process of updating it. And so we have a subcommittee that's going to be meeting over the summer to kind of check off what we've already accomplished in the strategic diversity plan, what we still have to work on, and what we need to add to it. And so I don't have it on me at the moment to share, but I could definitely make it available if it's not on our website.
Thank you. There's another question. Oh, Jean gave us her email. Thank you, Jean. Are there any other questions? We'll wait a few minutes. Please feel free to ask them anything. They're here.
Even if it's questions on how we can engage more alums and connecting them with our current students, anything like that.
Hi, got two new. It says, from TT Lyle, please let the alumni know concerns can be directed to the Office of Alumni Engagement. Let's see. Got a couple more over here. Ronnie Jean says, I just want to thank you for all of your hard work. And Mike Guilty said, not a question, but he said, I just miss you both.
Oh, miss you too, Mike.
And Stephen Penn just wanted to put out there that the Alumni Association did receive President Bitterbaum's message. We did send out through the association the message. He just wanted to make sure everybody knew.
Thank you.
Let me make sure I'm getting them all. Christina asks, how will you be approaching your programming for the fall 2020 semester with COVID? And P.S., she misses you all.
We miss you too, Christina. So to be honest, some of it is up in the air. We won't know probably until mid-July whether or not students will definitely be back in person in the fall. If students are back in the fall, we're going to have to maintain social distancing protocols, and so that will limit the amount of in-person programming that we are able to do. So some of the things that traditionally we have done in person most likely will be moved to online platforms, even if students still are physically on campus. We're trying to plan for different scenarios, but a lot of it, like I mentioned, is still up in the air depending what the institution and SUNY and Governor Cuomo's final decisions are moving forward with education.
Perfect. Does anybody have any additional questions? Oh, here's another one. Is alumni involved in the mentor program? If so, how can we contribute and sign up?
So at the moment, we don't have alum involved in either of our mentor programs. We haven't really thought about it being such a new program. We're definitely be open to it. I know one of the things that we do is have get-togethers once a month. And there's a potential maybe we could do something where we phone in or do some type of, especially if we're moving to online in the fall, do a Zoom where we invite alum to meet with our students as well. But we're open to ideas, and if we can create a list of alum who are willing to talk to our first year students and mentor them, that would be great.
Thank you. Any additional questions?
or comments?
Oh, here's one more. Would Portland be interested in sending student teachers into the urban schools of Buffalo?
I'm not, I mean, I'm sure they would, but I'm not sure because I'm not in the School of Education. So to be honest, I don't know the statistics of where our students in the School of Education wind up as far as jobs after they graduate. But that is a great question to ask. I would say that maybe reaching out to Andrea LaChance, who's the Dean of the School of Education. Also, Ann Burns-Thomas is a great person to talk to because she coordinates the CURE program, which is a program for students who are interested in teaching in urban settings. Oftentimes it is our first generation and students of color who are part of CURE, even though that's not one of the requirements. And it's almost like they do a minor that's specific to teach them how to work, to have more cultural competencies surrounding being a teacher in an urban setting. So I'm sorry, I can't answer that question exactly. I mean, I don't know why they wouldn't be, but that's the best I can do at the moment.
Thank you. TT Lio asks, can we make sure that alumni are aware of student events held by MLDO? Perhaps a calendar can be sent to alumni so they can attend more events on campus.
So as far as the programming Multicultural Life does, we often try to create our calendar. Some of our events, like our big events like Kente and the conference, we get out there, we get the dates booked like a year in advance. Some of our other programming we do by semester. So we probably could. I know that a lot of the things that alumni like to attend are also events put on by our voice office organizations. I can't promise you anything there because, as many of you know, students are not the best with planning ahead. So sometimes we don't even get the dates until a week or two before their program. But we could help trying to put together some events. There are some events that unfortunately are only open to students or their guests. For example, I know we've received a lot of interest in people wanting to attend our Kente Celebration because it's gotten so big, and I think people are very excited about that. Unfortunately, because the function room is our biggest space to be able to hold this, just having the students and their 1 to 3 guests come actually fills the room to capacity. So if we opened it up to alum, that would stop the students who are receiving their stoles from being able to attend. We'd have to turn more students away. But other events like our conference or any of the type of educational programming that we offer, we'd be happy to let alum attend.
I do want to encourage alums too, or if you know someone that might not be connected, maybe let them know that they can reach out to Alumni Engagement Office to update their email contact, because a lot of students, I realize, we still have like their Cortland email, and either you may not have access or some of them don't check it. So please encourage others to just add, to ask Alumni Engagement to update their current information, which will be great. And they get the current information also when people sign up for things like these, so which is good.
Thank you. So Stephen asked, how is the W.E.B. Du Bois Honor Society doing?
For that question in particular, I'm not sure. Do you know if that initiative falls under a certain department?
Let's see if he responds. We'll give him a few minutes. I'll go to the next question with Angie. Are there specific programs or opportunities that you would like to offer the campus community that you need funding and assistance with? What's on your wish list for the future?
Ooh, this gets me excited. Okay, I'm a little overly ambitious. I mean, the biggest thing that I would love to do besides getting an additional line in our office, because like Lima said, we're spread very thin with everything we're involved in. I would love to create a center. I have talking to people about it, and I know that it would take a lot of funding, so I'm not sure, especially with our current financial situation due to COVID, what we'll be able to do. But I would love to have a center, a building on campus where our culturally based students groups could have a home. And I have like this vision of what that could look like. We could have like maybe a practice dance room for our student groups that step stroll, or they do dance like Ritmo Latino. Maybe a kitchen so students could cook their cultural foods if they don't have a place to do that. Office spaces for student groups, maybe like one for the Greek Multicultural Council. And I would love it if offices related to diversity and inclusion were also housed in that space. So like Lima and I would be in that space, maybe disability services could be in that space, or disability resources, you know, and I don't know, that's my big thing. I don't know if that'll happen anytime in the near future, but if we ever found the funding for that, like I would be super excited. I think another thing that we definitely could use support in is professional development for our students. And so I know Lima mentioned when she was talking about the NUF program that we really tried to get students to attend conferences for our NUF program. When we're able to take them to a national conference, the connections that they build and the information that they learn about help them tremendously when they're applying to graduate school or applying to jobs right out of college. And so if we could do more of that, unfortunately, like travel does cost a lot, especially national conferences, depending where they're located each year. The one in LA, unfortunately, we couldn't even take all the NUF fellows. We only took 3 of the 7, I think, that we had. And so maybe scholarships to help support students attending professional conferences would be super helpful. What else? Lima, do you have any thoughts?
Those are the main things, the building and definitely helping with our students' travel, because it's such a great opportunity for them. Some of them never traveled outside of where they live, so.
Let's see. One more question. For the future 2022 plus, can MLDO, along with public engagement and alumni affairs, coordinate to move the Kente Celebration to a larger space since alumni would like to attend?
I'd have to look into if there's any spaces large enough for that. The only place I could think of is where commencement is held, and I don't know if that would be an option because it is used as a sports facility during the year.
Especially since we do a dinner and stuff too.
Yeah, because we do a dinner and it's sit down. We would have to look in if there is a larger space. Even in Cortland, I think if we were to find a larger space, we'd have to leave Cortland. Even the local high schools, they use our campus to do their commencements because we have one of the biggest venues in the Cortland community. So we would have to look into that. I don't know if that would be physically possible just because of venues in the area.
So Stephen got back to us. He said the Honor Society falls under Institutional Equity and Inclusion Office.
Okay.
Okay. Yes. So that is something, again, because I'm working 2 jobs, when James left, he listed like high priority things that I had to make sure I did because I couldn't do everything I do now with MLDO and everything James was doing. So that was one of the things that was lower on the priority list. I do know that there was a faculty member that was working with James to put that on, and I'm hoping that when the new CDO comes in, they'll be able to work with this faculty member to get it running. But it has not been forgotten because after you said that, I remembered that it was something James had brought up, but not something that he said was necessary to keep everything he had going when he left.
Perfect, thank you. Are there any additional questions for Lima and AnnaMaria? Well, I don't see any more questions, so I want to thank you both very, very much for joining us today and giving your presentation. I don't know if you have any other last words to say.
Mainly make sure you add us on social media if you haven't. And remember our next 2 events that's coming up on July 9th and August 6th. Please spread the word. We're currently creating the flyer and we're going to be sending out campus-wide emails and our social media to promote this. There'll be a link that you can register. You can register for both events or one, but please help us spread the word because we do want to take more action steps. We do want to hear our voices, whether it's students and faculty staff, and we want to continue and make this better for the campus and for our community. So, AnnaMaria, anything else?
No, I just want to thank those of you who attended. We appreciate your support. Please don't be stranger. I kind of wish I could see all your faces right now because I know that there's also people that I know on the call. So thank you so much. We appreciate it. Like Lima said, that we're a smaller office, and so any support that we can get, we appreciate it. Please reach out with any questions that you have in the future. Our contact information is on the slide there that Lima has up. We've been doing the best that we can, but we're open to new ideas. And I think the way that we grow is by supporting one another. So please don't be strangers. We love seeing alum come back to campus, whether it's for reunion or programming that we do. And thank you for everything.
Thank you. And Titi Layo says thank you to both of you. She appreciates your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
All right,
Have a
bye.
great day.